Holy smokes, everyone. Boy, did we just have an absolute wild week in the markets this week. We had huge announcements happen this week that are going to have massive consequences for the global economy. We had huge volatility in the markets. We had huge executive orders by Donald Trump. We have huge geopolitical news, what's happening with Putin, what's happening with China. We got lots of new data, what's really happening for the average American citizen, what's happening in the jobs market, what's happening with people's savings, what's happening with people's bank accounts. We have so much to cover. In this video, it's going to be a very action-packed of everything that happened in the markets this week and what's going to happen in the next week that you need to be prepared for. So you know what time it is, everyone. Let's get straight into the news, the facts, and the data. Wow. Look at this, everyone. Very bad ending to the week on Friday. So Dow closed 400 points lower as Friday's inflation and tariff fears spurred a big sell-off. Now, we're going to have new tariffs hit tomorrow in the US by China. So let's get into this big story. So look at this. We saw the tariffs done by Donald Trump with a 10% tariff on China. This is additional to what he did in his first term. And now China is starting to retaliate and the trade war is starting to escalate. So China retaliates with additional tariffs on up to 15% on select US imports starting Feb 10th, so tomorrow. Now, China's finance minister said Tuesday it will impose additional 15% tariff on coal and liquefied natural gas imports from the US. But it's not just that. China will also levy 15% higher duties on American crude oil, farm equipment, and certain cars and trucks, and as well as enacting export controls on certain products related to critical minerals. So make no mistake, everyone, we're about to see the biggest geopolitical event of our lifetime. We're seeing the end of globalization and we're seeing the return to nationalism. And countries are starting to protect their natural resources very strongly. But this is what everyone's so worried about. Trump did this 10% tariff on China. They're now retaliating with 15. What is Trump going to do next? And how long is this trade war going to go? And how bad will it get? Well, Putin has weighed in on the situation, and Putin says Europe will stand at the feet of the master as Trump tariffs alarm allies. So it looks like Putin, who's obviously a lot more closer with Trump than Biden, he's definitely tooting Trump's horn here, trying to get close with him to try to negotiate some better terms for him. So commenting on Trump's decision to impose trade duties on America's closest trading partners at the weekend, the Kremlin on Monday said it's keeping a close eye on tensions from the sidelines. Now, Russian President Vladimir Putin praised Donald Trump on Sunday, saying his second administration would restore order in Europe. Well, we'll have to see. He hasn't been very focused on Europe yet. He's been more focused on things in America, which is definitely should be his priorities. But I think his next play, after we've seen what happened with China, will be in Europe. So European leaders are gathering on Monday with the threat of tariffs likely to be high on the agenda. So make no mistake, tensions are definitely rising around the world, but we just got multiple reports to show how bad things really are for the average American and what's really going on in the US economy that they don't want you to know about. So look at this report that came out this week, everyone. US consumer sentiment drops to 7-month low on price worries. So short-term inflation views jumped to 4.3% in early February. So this is absolutely terrifying for the Fed because their mandate is 2% inflation. And now this is saying the consumers expect inflation to rise to 4.3%. But we all know real inflation is much higher than this. It's more like 10 to 15%. So the preliminary February sentiment index slid 3.3 points to 67.8 according to the University of Michigan. And the latest reading trailed all forecasts of economists surveyed by Bloomberg. So if you think YouTubers are bad with their economic predictions, well, the professionals are even worse. Now, look at this. US consumer sentiment falls to 7-month low. We can see here on the chart for you all to see it fell to 67.8. But we can see this alarming trend here. Inflation expectations are skyrocketing. And, all you have to do is go ahead and, go to the egg aisle we're seeing egg prices go up hundreds of percents in just a matter of months. It is very, very alarming for those that like bacon and eggs for breakfast. And this next report shows us what's really happening for the average American, because you can see stocks going up on Wall Street, but that doesn't mean everything's okay for the little guy. Because look at this, 59% of Americans don't have enough savings for a $1,000 emergency. And of course they don't, because everything is so expensive. They don't have any disposable income after they pay all the expenses to put away money. So in the survey, 73% of respondents blamed inflation, high interest rates, or a change in income or employment status as reasons why they were saving less to meet unforeseen expenses. Now, this is up from 68% last year. So this is a very alarming trend, everyone. And according to data tracked by the US Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis, the average city price of a dozen grade A large eggs has risen more than 182% between January 2021 and December 2024. This is absolutely crazy. And the price of ground beef per pound is up 41%. Fresh wholesale chicken, nearly 30%. Whole fortified fresh milk per gallon up by 18%. And white pan bread per pound up by almost 24%. Because they told you they were going to do this. They told you they don't want you to eat meat. They want you to eat the bugs. That's what Klaus Schwab says, trying to put out all this propaganda that bugs are very good for you. They want you to eat all their GMOs, and they want you to eat all their lab-grown meat that Bill Gates is heavily investing in. Now, also, high cost of living. So hardworking families today are overwhelmed by the cost of fuel, food, housing, automobiles, Medicare, utilities, and insurance. And that's right. After they pay all these, there's no money left to save. But okay, let's get into our next report here to show that the job market, this is a bit of a mixed report. And what have I seen every single jobs report that's come out? It's been revised not once, not twice, every single time. So US jobs growth, rising inflation views leave room for Fed to hold rates steady. So the Federal Reserve will not have a reason to cut interest rates, and really they should probably start lifting interest rates because inflation is going to get away from them. And what we're really in now is stagflation. That's where you have higher unemployment and you have prices continuing to go up. So non-farm payrolls moderated last month, unemployment fell, and the annual government revisions now show that job gains were softer but still solid in 2024. So again, they put out these reports, they show, look, we're creating 10 million jobs or whatever they put out, and then they'll just revise it down to 100,000 the next year. It's absolutely a joke, the BLS and their statistics. Now, they also weighed in on the situation, what's happening in LA, to see if that's had any effect, but the BLS said the wildfires in Los Angeles, as well as severe winter weather in other parts of the country, had no discernible effect on employment in the month. Even so, nearly 600,000 people didn't work in January because of bad weather. So that's showing that while they may not be losing their jobs, they're getting less hours, and that means they'll be earning less money. Now, this is the most in 4 years, and another 1.2 million people who usually work full-time could only find part-time work due to the weather. Now, this is another scam they do with the jobs report. You could say you've created 10 million jobs, unemployment rate is 0, everyone's employed, but if everyone's only working 5 hours a week, only earning $20 an hour, you're not earning a living wage. What you really need to look at these jobs reports is how many jobs are they creating where it's giving people a very high standard of living, between $80,000 to $100,000 per year. Those are the jobs, people really need. Not the part-time retail jobs or, working at a restaurant. That's not going to cover all the crazy high cost of living these days. But this next report here is crazy, everyone. The Treasury has used more than 60% of its debt cap special measures. So the Biden administration used a lot of creating accounting to not hit the debt limit, but they're running out of cash. So we can see this chart here. The Treasury has used more than 60% of its extraordinary measures. And we can see here the measures allow government to prolong its borrowing under the debt limit. but it's almost been depleted. Now, in other news, talking about the tariffs again, we are starting to see the real effects it's having on the US economy. So Ford slides 5% on tariff concerns, warning profit could fall $2 billion in 2025. So this is going to have real effects on the US consumer and US companies. And this is only the beginning. We do not know how bad things will get. But what have I been warning about, everyone? How you can protect yourself is in precious metals. And, well, surprise, surprise, gold hit another all-time high this week. So gold climbs to record high as traders weigh threat from tariffs because they know inflation is going to go up. The geopolitical situation is becoming more and more uncertain. Tensions are rising around the world. And precious metals go up when there is a lot of uncertainty in the market. So precious metals rose. The precious metal rose above 2,800 ounce for the first time ever. And markets are worried about economic impacts of trade wars. And we can see here with this chart just how bullish things have been for gold. And what I was talking about earlier, everyone, and what this is all leading to is governments around the world are going to start protecting their national resources and their essential minerals very, very strongly. And I had to double check and triple check the following startling fact. How in the world has the US government allowed itself to be this ignorant of risk and dangers to its national security? Because there are no producing mines of this very critical and crucial rare earth metal on US soil. It is 100% imported from other countries, and this particular rare earth metal is used for military applications. So this is gross incompetence in my opinion. And how is it the US imports nearly 27% of the supply of this metal from its only formidable enemy? Who is that? China. So what is this resource? It's tungsten, and its unique characteristics make it indispensable in modern industrial, technological, and defense applications. Tungsten is used in some advanced composite armors for military vehicles due to its ability to absorb and dissipate kinetic energy. Now, for decades, globalization has blinded politicians, and the Chinese have become dominators of rare earth mineral mining. But with Trump wanting to strengthen his national security and bring back these rare earth minerals onshore, production onshore, and I believe there's never been a better time to hold an American-based tungsten company. And that's why I want to introduce you to today's video sponsor, American Tungsten. That stock ticker symbol DEMRF. And they could become the first tungsten producer on US soil after decades of no mining whatsoever. And this is why you need to start doing your due diligence, because American Tungsten is only worth $12 million US. Because the United States faces a critical vulnerability in its independence of China for rare earth minerals. In the due diligence I conducted, I found that RREs are used in so many indispensable items, and how China achieved control of approximately 70% of global rare earth production and 85 to 90% of processing capacity, creating a strategic chokehold on global supply chains, is beyond me. Now, the dominance is not accidental. Over decades, China has strategically invested in mining, refining, and exporting rare earth minerals, while undercutting competitors with lower costs, forcing many US operations to shut down. The US now has only one operational rare earth mine, Mountain Press, California, and it relies on China for refining the ore into usable metals, a glaring weakness. Now, it doesn't mind tungsten though. In geopolitical crisis, China could weaponize this dominance as it has signaled in the past. A sudden supply disruption would critical US industries, including defense contractors, dependent on REEs for missile systems, jet engines, and advanced electronics. Transitioning to domestic production is slow and costly, leaving the US highly exposed. And the rare earth dependency risks becoming a national security crisis of unparalleled magnitude. Now get this, there are no producing tungsten mines on US soil. American Tungsten seeks to become the first tungsten producer on US soil though, and American Tungsten is advancing significant North American past producing mines in a region with mineral, environmental, and regulatory barriers compared to overseas competitors. Now the company plans to put it back into production, and what's incredible is that the market cap is only 12 million USD. And today, in historical high-grade mining and drilling results, when compared with other developers, who are racing to be first movers are much more compelling in my opinion. Now, I don't know if there's another mineral or metal so essential the Department of Energy deems as critical and the US produces none of it, importing it by the boatload from China, and I could be a shareholder of the first mover in the mining of it. Now, the US Department of Energy, DOE, classifies tungsten as a critical material, recognizing its strategic importance to national security, clean energy, and high-tech industries. Tungsten has the highest melting point of any metal at 3,422 degrees Celsius, and it is extremely dense and hard. And these characteristics make it indispensable for applications that require high heat resilience, durability, and strength. So start doing your homework on American tungsten. Again, that's stock ticker symbol DEMRF. But everyone, what do you think about all of this? Let me know down below. Now, for all my loyal viewers and subscribers still watching, you're awesome. Thanks for watching. I'll see you all in the next video.